Grow your practice, grow your wealth, grow your impact. Find out how to spend less time in the dental chair and more time on the things you love.
Welcome back to the Dental Wealth Podcast. I'm glad to have you. What I want to do today is to get you thinking about really this idea of what is your time worth per hour. So if we're going to look at dental wealth and the idea of creating wealth within our practice so that we can have the life we want and impact all kinds of other people, sometimes it's incremental changes. It's the little moves over a period of time that make all the difference. And I've got some numbers I want to share with you. I think these are pretty cool, and I would even write these down. These are really just cool to think about. So Bill Gates per hour, he makes $456,621 per hour. Now remember, that's all about how much value you bring to the marketplace. So to have more, you become more. And you look at this new year and you go, look, hey, how can I become more in the new year? Well, you say Bill Gates makes a lot. Well, how about Elon Musk? Like, what does Elon Musk make per hour? So Elon Musk makes $684,931 per hour. $684,931 per hour. That's a lot of money, folks. That's a lot. And that's really about how much value. Look at Elon Musk if you start thinking about that for a minute. We start looking through those people. Elon Musk, right, really brought electric cars to the forefront and created a company. Not only did he create PayPal, which revolutionized the way people were paying and created value, right? They say, how do you make $1 billion? Well, you solve a $10 billion problem. And so Elon Musk, really, if you think about it, has done great by solving problems. And one of the things he did was he brought value to the marketplace by creating electric vehicles and creating a new pay system. Bill Gates obviously, created Microsoft, which, revolutionized the way, corporations' software interacted and really had so much to do with the way movement of technology. How about Warren Buffett? So what is Warren Buffett worth? So we will look at Warren Buffett as being one of the greatest investment minds of all time, creates tremendous values through companies. You got to think about how many companies and employees and impact that Warren Buffett brings to the marketplace. And yes, Berkshire Hathaway is the company, but look at how many companies that are under that umbrella and how many people are impacted by Warren Buffett. So he makes $958,904 per hour, right? So that's considerable, almost $1 million per hour. So how about somebody else, right? How about, can you beat that, right? That's almost $1 million an hour. Can you beat that? Well, if we look at Mark Zuckerberg makes $1.7 million approximately, $1,712,238 per hour, folks. And you look at what Facebook has done, and whether you like it or don't like it, and we can talk about the positives or negatives, what happened was Facebook created value to the marketplace. It allowed people to connect that otherwise wouldn't connect. I've got military buddies and people from elementary school and people from every walk of part of my life, people that would have disconnected are now connected to me and I can continue to communicate. Now, some of those things maybe I should have lived in, maybe sometimes relationships you should have lived in the past or they connect with you. But for the most part, we'd have to say that Facebook has allowed us to connect in ways we never connected before. And there's a lot of value in that. And so he gets paid for that value. Well, okay, so he makes basically twice as much as Warren Buffett. So what would be, at least per hour, so how about Jeff Bezos? So that's like the big one, right? So, founder of Amazon. Look what Amazon has done to the marketplace and how they've disrupted the marketplace and how much value that Amazon provides. Because you got to understand, it's not just providing the Amazon, as far as their company, but it's how many companies are being affected through Amazon and how many companies do those companies employ and are able to distribute their merchandise in a way that they've never been able to do before through Amazon. And so Amazon, whether you like them or not, has had a huge impact and really positively impacted a lot of families as well. And so Jeff Bezos makes $4,474,885 per hour. All I'm asking you to do is increase your hourly rate, but maybe 100, 200, 300. So when you see these numbers, don't get intimidated, because the last thing I want you to do is see the numbers like that and say, I'm going to shut down because I'll never make that kind of money. The point, like, you'd be missing the point if you thought that. The point of something like this is to think about the idea of, how much is my time worth per hour? How much is your time? Do you calculate your time per hour? Do you think about how much time, right? How much your time's worth when you walk into the dental practice? Do you think, are you just looking at production, or are you actually looking at saying, what is my value of time per hour? Because when you do that, especially when you start to look at building a scalable organization, when you start actually looking at your time in that zone, when you start saying, how much my time worth per hour? By the way, it's just incremental moves. You just go, how could I become worth an extra $500 per hour? And I'm asking you that. How could you become worth more than 500? How could you become worth more? How could you become worth $500 more an hour? Like, how could you do that? Right? And then that's when the inventive part comes. Here's the question. Could you double your value in the same amount of time? So could you double what you're worth in the same amount of time? And the answer is, well, of course. Of course you could. Of course you could double the value you provide per hour. And sometimes that's where we need to go to work. And we throw these, numbers when you're going into a new year, often of these overall practice goals and overall practice numbers. But I would challenge you for a moment to think, what if I just changed how much I'm worth per hour? And I started looking at, and then by the way, you could help your team with that, right? How much are they worth per hour? And people get paid for value, not time. So helping them become more valuable. Here's a great question. What if each team member was worth twice as much money as they are today per hour? So they provided twice as much value to your practice as they do today. And what if your job, you got out of the dental chair? So you increased what you're worth per hour, but then you got out of the dental chair and you helped your team become more valuable. Imagine how much that would affect your practice, and imagine how much that would affect, right, your income and their income and your life and your production and growth and impact. And so it's sometimes we're measuring the wrong things. And that's why I tell people that you get what you measure. Here's a question for you. Are you measuring the wrong thing? Because once you figure out what your time's worth per hour, then it's pretty easy. Because then you go back and just start saying, okay, well, so for instance, okay, should I mow my lawn? Because then we start actually looking at the things you are doing per hour and say, hey, should I mow my lawn? Well, no, if my time's worth $1,700 per hour, I'll pay somebody $30. Because see, if I'm not producing, if I'm not bringing in $1,700 an hour, then you bet that I'm going to be doing something with my family. You bet that I'm going to be taking some downtime to recuperate. You bet that I'm going to be spending that time and making the best use of it and not wasting it. See, I pay people. I think you've got to learn is, as you move up this wealth scale, that you've got to learn that your time's very valuable. And you want to create more value per hour in your time. And you'll find that if you do more of that, if you become more valuable, then everything else can change. And you learn how to prioritize the things in your life that are most important. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take this and I want you to think about this and what your time's worth per hour. And then I just want you to, first of all, calculate it. Figure out how many hours you produce, right? And I'm talking about production. What are you actually producing during that time? And by the way, I'm an MBA. So if I say production, like if you're thinking in production mind, I'm thinking collection, right? So what is your business bringing in based on the value you provide? Figure that number out. If you need help figuring that out, reach out to us. We'll be more happy to help you calculate it. But figure out what that number is. And then what you want to do is you want to ask yourself, don't double it overnight. That's one of the biggest mistakes you can make, is just go, well, if I'm worth $1,500 an hour, let me just change it to $3. And maybe we should just change it up $200 an hour, and then we get there, and then we go another $200, another $250, another $300. And what we'll do is over time, you wake up 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, and you're worth 3 times what you are today from a value standpoint, from an economic value standpoint. And so economically speaking, that's what we want you to focus on. So think about this podcast. I want you to get done with this podcast. I want you to hit stop, and I want you to just stop for a minute and write down, what is my hourly rate? What am I worth per hour? What then, like, what do I want to increase it to? And you might want to even set quarterly goals. And then what do I want to increase it? Then how would I do that? And write down literally how I would do that. What are the strategies? Maybe some obstacles that are in the way to overcome to get there. And start putting a game plan in place for you to start actually going and increasing the amount of value you provide for that hour. Then go back and look at saying, like, make a list of the things you do and ask yourself, am I doing things that I shouldn't be doing? Am I doing things that I need to let go of? Should I be letting go things so that I can, because by the way, I will tell you, a lot of times what happens is you're not becoming worth more per hour, because in that downtime, I call it inert time, and a time that you can be growing, though, you're mowing the lawn, or you're, doing things, that don't provide value to the marketplace. Now, if you love mowing your lawn and you love that, then that's fine. Figure something else. And you understand what I mean by that. The point is, there's a lot of time, stop watching Game of Thrones and pick up a book, right? And put down the show and put down the entertainment for a little bit. Now, I'm not talking about recharging your batteries, but I'm talking about, hey, maybe some of this time could be used to become more valuable to the marketplace. And I'd be focusing on that. And you'd be surprised that if you just focused on that, what it would do for your year, for your family, for your impact, for your team, and for everybody else. I hope you enjoyed. Guys, it's such a pleasure being here. Listen, hit subscribe. Share this with a friend. If you've heard something valuable, one of the greatest things you can do is share it. It's one of the greatest gifts you can give, is when you hear something, to share it. And by the way, when you share it, guess what you get to do? You get to hear it again, right? And that's how things become ingrained, is when you hear something great, you want to talk about it, and then let somebody else share it. And that's what ends up happening. That's how amazing things happen. And so part of impact, I think when we think about impact, sometimes we think, well, it's got to be, feeding the homeless, right? Sometimes impact can be sharing a message that puts somebody's career on a different track and their trajectory, and then they go impact their team, and then their team impacts other people. So sometimes what we want to do is just get the ball rolling. So listen, if you've enjoyed this, it's our pleasure to have you as part of the listening audience. Share it, talk to someone about it, talk to your team about it, send it to your team, send it to people you love. Hey, hit subscribe, hit like. Glad to have you as part of the audience. You guys have a great week, and we'll talk to you next time.